Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, we are going to understand how Kubernetes works internally. We will look at the main components, how they communicate with each other, and then we will follow what happens when we run a command like kubectl apply. Let's get started. Let's first understand the main components of Kubernetes. This is the official Kubernetes documentation and we will go through each component one by one. Kubernetes has two main parts: control plane that makes decisions, worker nodes that run applications. Remember this separation. It's very important because everything we learn will fit into one of these two. Let's start with the API server. This is the most important component in Kubernetes. Every request, whether from kubectl or internal components, goes through it. The API server is the central communication hub of Kubernetes. Components don't randomly talk to each other. They communicate through the API server. Next is etcd. etcd is the database of Kubernetes. It stores the entire cluster state. So what does cluster state mean? It means everything Kubernetes knows about your system. For example, it stores which pods should be running, how many replicas we want, what services are defined, configuration details, and so on. So, when you create something like a deployment, Kubernetes stores that information in etcd. API server reads and writes to etcd. Other components don't directly interact with it. So whatever you define, Kubernetes stores it here as the source of truth. Next is scheduler. The scheduler decides where a pod should run. When a pod is created, it doesn't have a node initially. The scheduler selects the best node based on available resources. So, scheduler is the decision maker for pod placement. Next is controller manager. Controllers make sure the cluster matches the desired state. For example, if you want 3 pods but only 2 pods are running, controller will create the missing one. So, controllers constantly watch and fix the system. This is why if a pod crashes, Kubernetes automatically recreates it. Now, moving to the worker node components. The first one is Kubelet. Kubelet runs on every node. It watches the API server and makes sure containers are running on that node. If something is not running, Kubelet tries to fix it. Kubelet is responsible for actually running the workload. Kubelet does not run containers by itself. It uses something called a container runtime. For example, containerd, CRIO. Container runtime is what actually runs containers. Kubelet gives instructions and container runtime executes them. Now let's look at kube-proxy. Kube-proxy runs on each node. It handles networking for services. When traffic comes to a service, kube-proxy routes it to one of the pods. It basically sets up networking rules on each node. So, kube-proxy is responsible for traffic routing inside the cluster. Let's clear a very common confusion. Kubectl versus Kubelet. Kubectl is the tool we use to interact with Kubernetes. Kubelet runs inside the cluster on each node. So, Kubectl sends instructions, Kubelet executes them. Kubectl runs on your machine and Kubelet runs inside the cluster. This is why Kubectl starts the process and Kubelet finishes it. Now that we understand all the components, let's see how they actually work together in a real flow. This is where everything connects. So far we understood the components, but Kubernetes is not just about components. It's about how they work together. So let's see what actually happens when we run a command. Let's say we run kubectl apply command for a deployment YAML file. Kubectl sends the request to the API server. The API server validates the request and stores the desired state in etcd. etcd now contains what we want and how the system should look like. This is called the desired state. Controllers are constantly watching the API server. They compare desired state versus current state. They see that a new deployment is created. So they create replica set and then pods. So controllers ensure the system matches the desired state. Next one is scheduler. Now these pods don't have a node yet. The scheduler decides where they should run. So scheduler is the pod placement decision maker. And then Kubelet. On the selected node, Kubelet takes over. Kubelet watches the API server. It sees that a pod is assigned to this node and starts the container using the container runtime. Kubelet uses a container runtime like containerd or CRIO, and container runtime actually runs the container. Now the pod is running your application. Now this is very important. This is not a one-time process. Kubernetes continuously monitors the system and sends updates back to the API server. This is a continuous feedback loop. Kubernetes is always watching and correcting itself. Now you can see how all the components we discussed are working together in this flow. Nothing works in isolation. This flow is about desired state becoming running state automatically. If something fails, like a pod crashes, the controller will detect it and recreates it without any manual intervention. Now we understand how Kubernetes creates and manages applications. But what happens when a user actually tries to access it? Let's see that in the next flow. Thanks for watching. In the next video, we will look at how external requests flow through Kubernetes. I'll see you in the next one.